Now, this brings to a lot of discussions of what's considered kol sheyesh bai. First, we have to understand what's considered kol sheyesh bai, and we have all the mishalim that we'll see throughout Taisvis. Hopefully, today we'll see what we can get to. But let's just start with this din that the Gemara says. The fourth line from the bottom, the third line from the bottom. Rav and Shmuel said a din of kol sheyesh bai mechameshes minim mevach and all bar minim mezainis. We know that there's a klal in HBrachos ikka v'tafel. Whatever is the ikka of the food, that's what we say you make a bracha on. What's the ikka of this ingredients? The ingredients of a soup. Let's not rather talk about a soup. But the ingredients of this piece of cake is flour. So I make a mezainis. It makes sense. The ingredients of this vegetable knish is vegetable, so I make a hadama. Either some other product, the sugar in there. Well, sure, you don't make a shackle on the sugar because that's what this thing is made out of. The rave of it, the ingredients of it, the ikka of it is this vegetable. Now we're coming to a shaila that now we're discussing that the main ingredients is not the flour. There's just a little bit flour in it. Still, we tell you, there's a little bit flour, you make a mezainis. That's this halach of kol sheyesh bai. Now we have to understand how much flour, what the purpose of the flour, but this halach is telling you that kol sheyesh bai, normally we say the flour has to be a certain amount. The ingredient that you want to make the bracha on has to be most of it. Here, you don't have to do that. Any pot, any food that has flour in it, kol, anything that has flour in it, kol sheyesh bai, you make a mezainis. Now, there's a klai in the Achrayim, which is really boils down to the Rishayim, is that what is the svah of kol sheyesh bai? Does it mean that now that's the ikka? The flour is the ikka of every meichel. Flour just conquers, and that's considered the ikka, even though you really have the ikka by something else. The ikka is you look at the ikka as something else. But no, flour comes in, even though it's a tremiyat, it's still the ikka. Or the pshat is that about it's not the ikka. The ikka is the other ingredient, the sugar. But since it's chashiv, that's why I make a bracha on it. Not that became the ikka. That's chashiv. Since it's chashiv, you make a bracha on it. You understand that, Kla? Is it the ikka or it's chashiv? Right? That means normally there's gedarim to ikka v'tafel, which you get to more at the end of the parak. But now, by kol sheyesh bai, we don't care about the gedarim. It knocks out all the gedarim. This is called the ikka or no? Even though it's not the ikka, there's something special about flour, and flour takes over the bracha. So
without classical dina ikka and tafel, that's what you mean.
I'm sorry?
Without the classical dina ikka. But what happens to how do you just get rid of ikka and tafel according to this side of the
Yeah, because chashivas knocks it out. When something's so chashiv, it knocks out ikka v'tafel. Knocks out all the gedarim of ikka v'tafel since it's so chashiv. So there's Rishayim, different mashmayas in the Rishayim that would tell you that some are mashma that it's ikka v'tafel the gedinim, and some mashmayas in the Rishayim are mashma that's not ikka v'tafel, it's chashivas. The Smag says very clear, Zeh HaKlal HaBrachos, Kol Shu Ikka V'imay Tfeili, he's going over here on Kol Sheyesh Bai, it goes into the regular gedarim of ikka v'tafel. Shabali Aleka, the Piskei Rid. But other Rishayim say very clearly, Afa Pisha Min Chameshes Aminim Einay Ikka. Still you make a bai minim mezainis. That's what the Rivan says, the Ribav on the side of the Rif, also has such a mashmayas that even though it's not the ikka, still you make a bai minim mezainis. The Ritva says that in other Rishayim. So that's one klai that we could have. Alpi Pashtis, this is Yesod in Taisvis, which we're about to see, Taisvis and Reb Kiva. Taisvis says, Kol sheyesh bai mechameshes aminim. Taisvis says, v'chein, the bottom Taisvis on the side, on the you have it, right?
Yeah.
Kol sheyesh bai, v'chein kaloraitis balaz, she'oisin mekemach u'mayim, oy mechalav, v'vochen aleim bai minim mezainis. Make a bai mezainis. V'chein, she'noisin kemach l'sech pulin, or l'sech hadashim, ma'krishim, וכן לסך שקדם, שאיסן לחיילה, אם איסה כדי שיסייד הלב, אז צריך לברך בהם מזייס. If you're making it for Sayyid Halev, you make a bar minim zaynis.
Klashas could be defined as what? Grapple.
Yeah, let's say something like that. You make kemach hamayim, and let's say some krepel or something, and then you make a bar minim zaynis. And now this is going to be a very important factor, but we're not getting into that now. This listed alev, but ve'im ledavik ba'alma ein tzarich levarach bar minim zaynis. Fine. V'toiv. So he's going to explain. He explains when we refer to the kemach as the ikar, but he says v'toiv lahachmi ol gamay b'seich hasuda. It's since you're mesupik, what should you do? Eat this teich hasuda. La'acha b'chas hamaytzi and potem b'manav shech. These shkedim that have some flour in it. Now, what should you do with it? Eat a teich hasuda, and like this you get rid of the problems. I'm mesupik if you should make a mezainis, not mezainis. Eat a teich hasuda. Reb Kiva over here in the Gilyon Hashas, on the side of the Gemara, he says, go up a little bit, I think it's on the left side, yeah, right there. He says, Be'emtze dvarim, ein tzarich levarach, in the middle, right? Lishna kaitahu, ma'adenoktu ein tzarich levarach. The Taisis chapped on a lashon, it says that ein tzarich levarach, you don't need to make a bracha. Ha'af ein rasha levarach by minim zayis, you're not allowed to. What happened over here? In these shkedim, you put some flour. So Taisa says, since it's made ledavik, you don't have to make a mezainis. You don't have to. You're not allowed to. It's not a mezainis. It's just a little bit of flour in there. That's how Kivega obliges shver on Taisis. And it says Taisis was sugar lakat, but it really means eino yachal levarach, not eino tzarich levarach. You don't have to make a mezainis. You're not allowed to make a mezainis. What does Taisis do with this kasha? It's a eyes in a taina. The Teretz says Taisis understands that since it's just the ikka v'tafel, then if you made a bracha on the tafel, you yaitz also. The only reason why you don't make a bracha on the tafel is because you make it on the ikka. But let's say by mistake you made a bracha on the tafel, how Taisis is a yaitz. So therefore, Taisis is learning that what? Yeah, maybe you would have to, maybe not. But Taisis is just saying that if you made bayim zaynis, you don't have to make a bayim zaynis. But let's say you made, maybe you'll be yaitz. Masha Einkein learns that it's not an ikka v'tafel digga, then it's chashivas digga then. So I don't go with the gedam of ikka v'tafel b'chlas. If you're going to make a bracha on the tafel, you're not allowed to. You're not going to be yaitze. Then freaking Kivega of Tais says, what's going on? He's saying, hey, also levarach. You're not allowed to. Fine. That's how you can learn pshat in the machlekes. Okay. So we have now, let's go to this other line in Taisvis, which is extremely important, is this Yisayid in Taisvis that when we say this klal of kol sheyeshba is when it's kadesh Yisayid halev. But if it's ledavek ba'alma, eino tzarich levarach. This is what we have to understand. I'm sure you heard a share on this already about gefilte fish. No, okay.
We're just starting kol sheyeshba.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, very good.
This is the basic introduction.
Okay, fine. So Taisa said, Yisayid halev, you make a bracha of mezainis. Ledavek, you don't make a bracha of mezainis. Could you explain to me what's the difference between lisayid and ledavek?
That should be straightforward.
What is it?
The davik is a binding agent. Lisayid means it's part of the food.
Right. Lisayid is there to be sayid. It's supposed to make you full, substance. Ledavek is a binding agent. Now, I could tell you many foods that have flour in there, maybe you don't even know about. You know, licorice has a lot of flour in there?
45%.
What? That much?
Up to.
Wow. Okay. So now, licorice, Rabbi Shlomo is tiny, that has 45% flour. What do you call that? Lisayid or ledavek?
You shouldn't be eating licorice at all, but that's a different question.
Yeah, okay, fine. But science outside. I think he said to eat licorice, no?
What should Dailam say? No? Is it lisayid or is it ledavek?
Well, what is licorice? Licorice, you think is, what's the flour in the licorice for? To keep you full? Or is there just to bind?
The latter. Nobody eats licorice as a food, right? Everybody eats, the guys eat licorice among
you never had licorice for your main dish. You're not going to serve that for you, not yet. Right? Okay, so now let's start in between it.
What does texture mean?
Yeah. Okay. So now let's start here before. We have over here again. We have lisay and we have. Oh yeah.
Dabe. Let's say dabe.
No, he just asked.
And we also have lahatim.
Yeah. Yeah. What's lahatim? What's if it's different taste? Now I ask you something. Does flour have a taste?
Bad taste.
You ever tasted flour? You don't
Well,
make a bracha on it if you taste it.
We learned that already.
Right. So flour really has no taste. So what type of question is that the taste? Because flour holds taste very well.
What do
There's
you
a lot
mean?
of
What do you
food-
mean holds taste?
It means if taste is given to it, it adds to it.
Oh.
It holds on to the taste. It means let's say you have a syrup and you squirt it on flour, it brings out the taste of the syrup more than just by eating the syrup itself. So therefore, so flour has in it that it holds the taste itself. But okay, so the question is, if it's there for the taste, what bracha? The taste doesn't include that into its cheshbon. Taste says sayid, you make him a zionist. Ledabek, you don't make him a zionist. What's for taste? So like this, it's a machlekes in the Rishonim. The Meiri says, "Im ikka tavshel medvar machem umachnis by kemach haibel amasik esatam ein hakemach ikka vein halchen achro." That is not considered. That's the ikka, and you don't go with it. It's a taste. So we have a Meiri and a Sefer HaPardes that say taste. You don't make it by mezainis because of taste. It's only if it's there. Listen. Now the Nezer goes with that also. But there are other Rishonim, the Rosh and the Ibav, are mashma very clearly that when it's there for taste, you also make a mezainis. What's the pshat? Because taste also has a chashivas to it. The Ibal taste has a chashivas to it. So therefore, that's included in mezainis. We have machlekes in the Rishonim if taste is included in mezainis or not. What's the halacha l'maisa? The Shulchan Aruch says in Siman Reish Dalet Sif Yud Beis, Im irv k'dei litein tam b'taruvas. If you mixed it in order to give a taste in the taruvas, harehu iker. It's a taste, zok the Shulchan Aruch, that's also included in the halacha of giving it a mezainis. Mishabur in Reish Ches of Cotton Zion says, Ela l'davka yatzalayim shalei bo lahatim atavshel v'loy lisayt halev reaction atavshel meduvik. But if it's there for taste, Dr. Mishabur, you make him a zionist.
Which cotton?
In Reish Ches of Cotton Zion.
We see it.
In Reish Ches of Cotton Zion, the Mishabur says when the head of El Dafkai that it's not there for taste. That's if the mezainis has its own taste, not licorice, which is only. Yeah, we didn't speak about licorice. I just gave that as a mashal. We didn't say anything about licorice yet. The Mishabur is in Siman Reish Ches, Sif Cotton Zion. You're in the Shulchan Aruch.
Yeah, we're going to get it up here for a second because this is the revising the Olam. Steve Cotton Zion. Harbi Yosim Ham Atam. Yeah. It's on page 273. That's just the 2 lines, right?
Yeah.
273.
And very important, the Shahatzian over there, the Shahatzian in Ice, Yud Beis.
Yeah, it's on the side. Let's first yell out of Mishabur if you don't show to clear up that. I'll mess it, but we didn't see it. Harbi Yaiser Mehem. Zayin. Harbi Yaiser Mehem. The third line.
Atam, the Kivon, du Balahatim, Ulahachshes Atavshil, Vume Chameshes Amini de Chashivi, Hua Ikir.
1 second. So the Mishabur said 3 reasons here.
Yeah, but you see that he's using a word of Lahatim that's enough to go ahead and make it the Ikir.
So lahatim is what is the word lahachshes atavshel? Lahatim, I thought you said was to give it food, to make it a part of the food.
Taste.
And lahachshes also taste.
No, lahachshe is something else. Lahachshe is to give it maybe more substance. Lahachshe.
So you need both tanaim. You need both.
No. He's just telling you
either or.
Yeah. Look at the next. Look at Sivkat and Ches. El davkei. It's not coming out to be matim v'loy lisad halev.
That's a new one.
So you see that Te'ima is a very important player. Mishabur is learning Te'ima is a very important player. And look at the Shatzi and Ice Yud Beis.
It's on the side. Hataisis.
Taisis Anis Datim Ashikasav Taz the nice Lamachal Chashiv Kamay Tam who nichla b'mashakos v'atosis l'seid halev. Ham, he's very clear. The Shatzim is telling you that if it tastes, that's also included in l'seid halev. So Tosis just said l'seid halev. Dr. Mishabur, very clear.
So listed alev is not filling necessarily. It could also mean tasting.
Tasting. Listed alev is not just filling, it's also tasting. I like the taste, the way this flour tastes with this food, in this food. So it's very clear that the Mishabur learned that taste, when it's there for tasting, it's enough to go ahead and give it a mezainis. Now, let's discuss something that's very important for us to know. Meatballs, gefilte fish, have a lot of flour in there. Yeah? Meatballs and gefilte fish have a lot of flour. You ever saw gefilte fish? You ever saw a fish in the lake, gefilte fish? You never saw that. Why? Because there's no such thing. It's gefilte. It's filled with other things. What's it filled with? Flour. The more,
What's the proportion? What's the proportion of gefilte fish?
I don't know, but it's a lot. It really depends every company. The cheaper, the more expensive, then you know that. Rice also, Kenzine, maybe they found that rice is even cheaper. Whatever's cheaper, they put in there. So it comes out like this. When you have gefilte fish, depends upon Israeli and America. Okay, fine. So the question is, why don't you make them as highness? Why do you think the flour is there for? To fill you up. If there wouldn't be any flour, it'll be very mushy and it would have no texture to it. And it's more than just ladavik, it's there to fill you. You don't taste it. You don't feel it. But again, we didn't say anything about feeling. We know about lisite. Lisite is what Tyson said. Tasting, it makes a big difference in taste if there's flour or there's no flour. Many of us got used to already the store-bought gefilte fish, and therefore, by us, it's going to be mostly, we like it, the more flour there is, we like it better. You don't know what's in there, but I'm telling you what's in there is flour. L'chayra, if so, you should make a mezainis. Now, not too many people eat it during the week, but when it comes to bas ayin outside or something, and they're serving, maybe they're serving gefilte fish. So what are you going to do then? Right? So now, what's the pshat that the Welt makes a shaka? Zok davne neze. Let's say talk about meatballs. You know, your wife makes meatballs sometimes, there's flour in there. Right? You don't need a lot of flour, but it's flour in there. It's not just the texture. It's there to give it, what did he say? Basically, it tastes better. Yeah, okay, fine. That's got the sweet, it's sweet black. He's not here talking about. He's in Allah. Well, you tell that to the store, and they're not going to buy that. They believe that it tastes better. They're not going to tell you cheaper.
No, but he's saying the right. I mean, Lamana Emes is just as filler. Is filler anywhere in this list of Lahata Machshir El Davik?
Filler could be more similar to ladavik, probably. You have to know what filler means. What do you mean, filler for the fish or filler for me?
Filler for you. We don't want to give you expensive fish.
No, I don't mean that. No, I mean filler that it makes me full. No, that's not what you mean.
At the end of the day, what you're eating, as the Rav said, you're eating flour, Lamais, at the end of the day.
I'm eating flour. You need to take, Allah that what you're saying is right. So, I'll tell you like this. The Amneneza says, you make a shackle. Our Gemara. And then he says, whatever that means. He says that this is considered, he says, two tzvahs to make a shackle. L'davek, or it's meant to make big. So we could say maybe gefilte fish is meant to extend it. But it's not really meant, that's not lisite. It's not meant to fill you, it's meant to extend it. If not, the fish is going to be this big. Like this, the fish became this big. Kenzan. But that's still a ganz schwache svar. So let's say what the Chazanish said over. It's brought down in Orchos Rabbeinu.
But then where?
Orchos Rabbeinu, Chelik Aleph, Amud Peches. There's a new Madur, it's Amud Kufayin Aleph. Says like this: you do it in Chazanish that the reason why you make a sha'akal is because it's fart fish. Do you know what that means?
It's fart fish.
It's fart fish. What does that mean? It's called fish.
What's the lashon of
It's not called a cracker. That's the lashon that they bring down. Amali Moran, Echad Amali Shamaran Amali Bevadayis B'lashon Zeh is fart fish. You can do whatever you want to it. This is fish. No one's going to call this a cracker, right? They're not going to call it cake either, right? So your first dish Friday night is fish. So if it's called fish, it's fish, and that's it. That you're not going to change the bracha without a pshat. This is what they bring down M'Shem the Chazanish. So there's a Eitzes HaTorah in Tafshin Samach Daled that says that the Asher Chaim Kanievsky, the Tzidra Rabbi Falk, I don't know if he's living or not, Tafshin Samach Daled, 20 years ago, I'm sure if he's living, he's on Ma'ach Yom Shanazan. The Kitzah. So he brings over there that he asked Chaim Kanievsky with this Shmuah the Chazanish, the filter fish, they said Sha'akal, he said because he said fish, V'omah b'tkifas. Chaim Kanievsky said, b'tkifas, Hashmuah hanal eina nechayna. It's not true. He did not say that.
Which part of the shmur? A fart fish?
It's fart fish. He never said such a thing. Chazabenu brings it down from Tam Tamid Chazanish. Chaim Kanievsky said lahadam. Chazanish never said such a thing. And he says b'tkifas, and he says ubiyah. Chaim Kanievsky was mevayeh that Chazanish amar kach. So a guy walked into the Chazanish, and the Chazanish said, listen, if it's there for time, you make a mezainis. If it's there for ladab, you can make a shakal. Okay, so now what? I mean, what do we do with that? So we have machlekes if the Chazanish said this far or not. There's a sefer called Zicher Mordechai that he brings from Moshe Yitzchak Deutsch that he asked the Chazanish, and the Chazanish said, B'chol zois dagamu. It's a sefarat fish. So we have a stira in the Talmud. Shmuas, like a typical. If the Chazanish said that this is a heter, that this is farat fish or not. Now it's not just a joke, this, because we really have to know what this. If the Chazanish said such a svara, we have to start understanding it, because we have to know for meatballs, and we have to know if this is a true svara to say, like also a new svara HaRav. What it's called is the bracha you're going to make. This is called fish. Fish. You don't take a fish out of the ocean and make a mezainis, right? So this has the same name as fish. Since when did the last name have to do with anything? It's gefilte. Gefilte fish. So all of a sudden now it stays fish and it stays shahakal. So Nissen Kirelitz, another Talmud of Chazanish.
Yeah.
Okay, Kenzain. I don't know.
Is the Chazanish consistent with the Avnei Nezer?
No, this is a new svar of a cloud.
Totally different svar?
Totally new svar that Chazanish, if we understand it like this is what he was mechaber. So now, in this Kirel, it's a Chut Shani in the HBrachos. He says like this. He says, Kigoyim, there's a big mishpacha that they want to make sure, and Eretz Yisrael was like that, Amal for sure. Today, Baruch Hashem does have a little bit more money than it used to be, but the poverty Amal in Eretz Yisrael was terrible. So they didn't have enough money when they had a little fish, they had to extend it. What they do? So what they do? So they would go ahead and put flour in there, harba lechem, like this. The whole Bnei Abayis is able to eat. So he says, "V'lachein koyin lezeh dagim." There's no other she'ein lo matar v'tachlis b'mazon shechamesh min adagim. The kavanah is just to make it puffy and to be mava the tafshin. So over there he says that's why the Chazanish said sefarat fish. They call it fish. But there is no shaykhs to the din of chamesh min adagan. They're asking questions. It's chamesh min adagan. That's very clear. The Chazanish didn't mean a new thing. It's for fish. The Chazanish was telling you that when I have a big mishpacha and I'm putting in the flour in order that everyone should be able to have a piece of fish, so it's clear that my matara is that it's there for the thickness. But as long as I'm putting in the flour, the store is putting in the flour, not that they should go ahead and you should have a lot in your house, because they feel that the fish tastes better, more flour. Let's say Kamach puts in this amount of flour, and I don't know the names of the fish, or whatever you have, you can walk in the store, you have 20 types of fish, right? 20 types of the same gefilte fish, right? A and B and C, and right? So now you have all those, right? So now you go ahead and they're different. People everyone likes that type of fish. What's the pshat? The pshat is because each one puts in more flour or less flour. You feel that has more substance to it, whatever. So then the Chazanish doesn't apply. So Nissen Kirelitz is telling us that they're both right. I'm not sure. Oh, stuffed fish. Okay, gefilte. Yeah, gefilte is full. It's Yiddish. So it comes out. So he's telling us that you say that the halacha of the Chazanish that he said Sepharad fish of Chaim Kanievsky, they're both right. Because when he was saying Sepharad fish, he meant that you're talking about you weren't. That's Chaim Kanievsky got so upset like with this new term Sepharad fish. The Chazanish didn't mean anything. He just meant to say is that matar why these people are eating it is because the fish, not because the flour. But if today you go to the company and they're telling you I'm putting in the flour because it tastes better with it, or it gives it's sayed, I'm not to make a mistake. The never said there's no such magic. What name?
That's nicht praten fart fish.
I mean,
it's a little bit deichig in this, no?
I don't know, but upon him, we have to go with Chaim Kanievsky and we have to work on this nekuda that it's fart fish. Now, so if you're going to go ahead and eat it kedei la'asbiyah in order to get full, then for sure you should make a bayim in mezainis. Now, so what's halacha l'maaseh? There's Reb Shlomo Miller told me when I asked him about gefilte fish. He told me like this: that the reason why they put flour in there is to take away the fishy taste.
A new thing.
A new thing, completely. So Mela, it's not the whole thing. The whole anach is wrong. He says that since it will be too fishy if it will be just with the fish itself, so they put in flour.
So it's a new word latimoi. It's a negative atimoi.
It's a negative atimoi. Therefore, you make a shackle. It's there to take away the fishy taste. That's what Shlomo Miller told me. To me, that was interessant to say, but that's what he felt. Therefore, you make a shackle. The Mishnah Halachas, Menashe Klein, he has a tshuva about this, and he ends off that the Misha Efshalei Lahachma Tavel Bracha and just eat a techasudim. Now, I'm not telling you to do that, but upon him, most people, if you're eating it during the week, you don't wash dafka. He felt, and Menashe Klein felt that that's not considered, and that's not considered enough of a svar, and you have to try to be machma. If again, avada l'maisa, I don't believe anyone's going to tell you to make a mezainis on gefilte fish. Please don't do that in public for sure. Don't take a bite of gefilte fish and make a mezainis. But upon him, but we're just trying to bring out this nakuda of trying to understand, and we're going to move on now. But we're trying to understand what is this nakuda of saying that when something has flour in it, but it's not really Avi Pashtus, you should be making mezainis. We have to come and bring a raya why not to make a mezainis. So that's the gabi gefilte fish. Now, the shaila is, could we go ahead now and borrow this term when it comes to schnitzel? What's schnitzel? Schnitzel is you take a piece of chicken and you fry it on the frying pan with flour around it, right? You can use cornflakes crumbs or you can use flour crumbs. Flour crumbs, matzah crumbs, whatever it is. Right?
Raw flour.
Raw flour. Some people even grind the extra challah, you put it in, matzah, whatever it is. Why don't you make him a zaynis on schnitzel?
Why don't you make a mitzi?
Oh, a mitzi, trust me, I'm a little worried about a mitzi. Yeah. I'm worried today more than ever because today the health people, you don't fry anymore. You bake it. When you're frying, it's much lighter because it's in the shtia, so it's less than a kazayas. You get to it, and therefore it's in water, it's in oil. So mele, it's not so problematic.
Now it's baked schnitzel.
But baked schnitzel, you'll be proud. But let's what? Okay, those are
no, but you're baking with breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs. So okay, but mezainis kol sheyesh but. So why shouldn't you make a mezainis when you eat schnitzel?
Who said you don't?
Who says you don't? You ever saw someone making mezainis when they ate schnitzel?
I did, yeah. I thought when I came there to Stroll in the early 70s, you had to use a microscope to find the chicken. You remember this?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So the shaila is there any reason why not to make a mezainis on schnitzel? So first of all, don't just forget what we come out in the shit. Don't just start making mezainis on schnitzel because a lot of schnitzel are made out of cornflakes crumbs. So you don't have kosher yesh place. It's not even a shaila. It's partially make shar because the ikka is zichet the schnitzel. But we're saying now that we know the svar of kosher yesh place, so we don't care about the ikka. We care about Kol Shi, whatever has mezainis. If it has mezainis to it, why don't they make a schnitzel a mezainis? Now, Reb Chaim Kanievsky says, very clear, in the Sefer called HaRav Chasan, he says that if the flour is there to give time, then you make a mezainis. Now, I ask you, is the flour there to give time? Why do you put flour by schnitzel? Why do you have the flour there for? The taste. Different for taste, right? What's the cover for? The coating. Different for taste. So if it's different taste, you should make a mezainis. I asked the Talmidei Chachamim that if, let's say, you bake the flour, you bake the schnitzel, and they were okay telling me that you make hamatzi.
Hamatzi?
Hamatzi, if you bake it.
Really?
Yeah.
You hear that, Rabbi Sai? No, not
Fry,
by
we said
baking.
not, because fry it, it's in the oil, so it's bishul happening to the flour. So since it's bishul, that's less than a kazayis.
Anybody ever make the Ravs knows people make hamatzi on?
No, I
schnitzel?
haven't found some. I hope I never find anyone, but there is.
What do you mean? These people are reputable people.
So a lot of times I ask my wife, and if she tells me that my wife bakes most of the time, she doesn't fry.
She does bake, yeah.
Yeah, and I tell her, please let me know that if you use challah,
You have to wash.
if you use flour, it's called breadcrumbs. Okay, it's breadcrumbs. I try. I don't wash on that.
You wash something
I wash
else.
something else. Yeah. Well,
Why can't you wash on that?
I'm saying sugar vinegar. That's what I'm saying.
Would Rav like to identify the people tell you to make a maisi?
Yeah, who told me? The Rabbi Forrest from Chicago from
Rabbi First or Rabbi from Far Rockaway? Wrote a big sefer on brachos.
His brachos from sefer brachos. Pischei halacha.
And who's he basing it on?
No, this
Svar de Nafshe.
Yeah.
Forrest.
Forrest.
But
He's the agent by Rabbi Schwab. I'm not sure.
But the breadcrumbs are totally mifurer and all that.
That doesn't matter, but
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't lose his brother.
Yeah. You don't have to have a kazayis.
What?
You don't have to have a kazayis to the breadcrumbs.
No. We'll get to that. That's going to be
The next
much
sugya,
later.
right?
The kitzer. So that's what he told me. Rabbi Kazlis told me that also. Now he said himself, but Akapanim, that's that. Now, Rav Moshe has a tshuva about this in the Chayveres L'Torah V'Hayah. I don't know if you remember. It came out when the Lammeds, they put out when Rav Moshe was still around. You remember that? In the Kayal, right, sure. Line, yeah, okay. Your day is taka. So in the Tavshel Lammeds, they came out. Rabbi Bluth wrote a lot of it. And sometimes from there, they put it into the Igros Moshe. A lot of times you see in the Igros Moshe, it doesn't say a name. It's not a shah. No shayla tshuva. It's the things from the Torah L'Orah. And you should know, I spoke to Rabbi Bluth about this. It wasn't like, you don't be medactic so much in those tshuvas because Rabbi Moshe didn't write it. Even though it's in the Igros Moshe, Rabbi Bluth was the one that wrote it. And Rabbi Bluth himself told me that you can't be medactic so much in it because there's some very hard ones when it comes, and I remember specifically one with buyer, whatever it is. Akapanim. So now, so Moshe writes over there, Oysen dogim shakarim flander, Oybasa shakarim cutlets, Bein anasim ibasa behema, Bein anasim ibasa roif, that you put it, Mevarchim shahakal, the vadai hadag v'habasa ikar. That's the ikar. V'tzipuyan, the cover, filling in the dog and the film is the time. Einay ela lahatim achilasan ulahakel hachanasan. Even though it's giving a taste. So you should make him a Zionist, we came out. Taste, maybe make him a Zionist. Zok, the Mishnah Berurah said, if it's giving a taste, make him a Zionist. Zok the Moshe, Einay ela lahatim achilasan ulahakel hachanasan. What do these words mean? $1 million question.
Again?
No, more chicken doesn't give you a hektar. Because kol sheyesh by. No, that's not what he says. No, he doesn't say that. No, you can eat. No, the flour is there. Lahatim achilasan, ulahakel hachanasan. So a better taste is mezainis. No, a better taste is mezainis. We said that that if you're putting in the flour to make it a better taste, you make a mezainis. And Moshe is telling you, oh, you know why you don't make a mezainis? Because it's only lahatim achilasan. What happened there? And Moshe going to connect the Mishnah Berurah? If he's going to connect the Mishnah Berurah, then we have to know. Then we go with the Moshe or the Mishnah Berurah. I'm sorry. Fit for life? I don't know what that is.
What's a movement?
Fit for life.
Okay, let's go back. I don't know what it is either. He's talking about a diet.
A diet.
A diet.
Okay, fine. But akapanim, so you have this gefilte fish. We're talking about schnitzel. Now he just said very good. When we were 20, 30 years ago, there was no such thing as just fried schnitzel without this coating on it, right? Right? There was no such thing as you have schnitzel. You go now to Simchas, there's no any more fried chicken. It's more grilled, right? Grilled without any coating on it. So, right? Mike's chicken, yeah, Mike's chicken. Oh, Mike's chicken is very important because Mike's chicken has pretzels on it. That's mamish amazaynis. Different kinds. I'm saying, but there's one with mamish pretzels, and the pretzels are very thick. It's not like nothing. One second. We're gonna get to it. So let's go again. Moshe is telling us two svaras. Why you making amazaynis? It's lahatem achilasan ulahakel achanasan. Again, we're not going to be medayik like a rishon here because I told you I have a blue throat. It's not Moshe. But what does this mean, Michlal? And we said, we just gave the whole share that the Mishnah Berurah say very clearly, if it's different to Ima, you make a mezainis. So how do I just like knock it out?
Using a different definition for the word lahatim, obviously.
Yeah, that means there's something here different that we have to try to explain. Now, let me try to explain like this. The first thing is that Amal, the reason why they put the coating on wasn't so much for the taste, let's say. It was more like lahakel achanas. We're going to do the second thing first. It's easier to prepare, which means it wouldn't get burnt, or else the chicken would get burnt. If you put chicken on the fire itself, it's going to get burnt. That saves it from getting burnt. Okay, I just told you.
What do you mean? You're talking about schnitzel?
Schnitzel, yeah.
The coating saves it.
It saves it from. Now you're able to take it off from the pot, and it didn't get burnt. 1 second, let me tell you, Pashut. If you go ahead and you have oil in the pot, and you're frying the chicken without the coating, what happens? It gets crispy, very nakashmak. There's no juice to it. There's no, right? It saves it when you're putting on the coating. It saves it. It gives it a juiciness to it, and it gives it a good taste. No, forget the taste. It saves the piece of chicken itself. You following? Right? If you take chicken and you fry it itself, you have the coating on it, then it's not gonna.
Okay.
It's not gonna be. You're not gonna have that. It dries up, right? Exactly. It's gonna be like ice could dye the chicken. That's what it's gonna be. The same way that's what oil does to something.
So the Rav is saying that schnitzel was invented to prevent it from drying up.
Yes, that's why they had the coating. The coating. That's lahakel achanasa. That's what Moshe means lahakel achanasa. But what does it mean?
Doesn't latima. That's not latima.
But that's not latima. So what does it mean lahatim achilasan? So let's try to clarify. There's two things in te'ima. There's one is kape the mensch, and one is kape the food. That means like this. That means there's one that I want to have that taste of flour. The other thing is not that I want to have the taste of flour. I want to have the taste of the fish or the chicken. But the way to get the taste of the chicken is I put it in some flour to give it some taste. So if that's my mahalach, that's how I want to get it. So it's not for me to be sayyid or for me to have a better taste. It's more that the chicken should have a better taste. A little bit like you were trying to say, I think someone in the back over there was saying that's what the Chazanish meant, separat fish. A little bit like that in Nakuda. You said that, right? No, someone said you said that. Okay, fine. But akapanim, that the pshat is that's not there for the person. That's there for the fish. That's there for the chicken. It has to make the chicken live. It has to make the chicken taste better. That means, what's the raya? The raya is like this. If you have different options of chicken, today, Amal, we said everything was coated. Today, it might be much worse. So to Amal, you always made shakal, fine. But today, I have an option to try to take. They come to you by a wedding, and they tell you, you want grilled or you want fried, right? Grilled is without a coating. Fried is with the coating. So you pick fried. Now, why do you want fried? Because I like the coating. So then you should make them as honest. Because you're eating it because you like the coating. That's because I like it. If there's no option, like Amal 30 years ago, so Moshe was saying there's no options over there, what was the tachlis of it? The tachlis of it was just the substance of the chicken itself. So then maybe you should make a shaka. But today, I chose the fried chicken with the coating because I like the coating. And when it comes to Mike's chicken, I have a pretzel option, I have a different option, I have 3 options, and I picked that pretzel option. I want the pretzel. Therefore, yeah, okay, you can argue with Blazer. 1 second. So therefore, when I'm choosing the pretzel option, that's what I want to taste. I want the pretzel along with the chicken. I should make a mezainis, even like a Moshe. Because that's what I want from it.
Everybody here to speak Kiddush?
Yeah, I'm not passing the mice yet. Don't leave yet. 1 second. You're going to have to make alamichi on something that's not. Now, I'll tell you like
so
this.
what? This is because of the person's preference. That's
Right, the person's preference.
That's what the whole food is.
Yeah, when Mike's Chicken gave you 3 options, that means that giving you an option. That means I'm mold. There was no three. Fried chicken was fried chicken. That was it. Always had the coating, and that was it. You had no option to buy something else. Today, the fact that there are different options are showing us that the pshat is the bracha is subjective. We'll get to different covering. One's a mezainis covering. One's a flour. One's a cornflakes covering. So I chose the mezainis covering. I want that type of covering. So if I want that type of covering, I should go ahead and make a mezainis. Now, because that's my matar. I'm not saying I don't want the chicken in it, but I want both of it. So that's called sheyesh b'ay. Oh, ice cream sandwich, something else we're going to get to. Now, yeah, he's asking a good question. Why isn't Reva Olam? Today, that became Reva Olam. The Olam that's eating schnitzel that has in it pretzel, Mike's makes every single platter of Mike's. You ever saw Mike's chicken? Not in Australia.
What chicken?
Mike's chicken. I know from Australia.
It's a real place?
Mike's chicken? Oh, it's a restaurant. I don't know. All the Lakewood gets it. I have no idea. It's a takeout, Mustama, whatever.
Oh, so
you ever saw a platter of schnitzel? You ever buy Lakewood Parliament?
Yeah,
that's Mike. Okay, whatever. It's a gunish. I'm saying, well.
So the person's choice is kaveh that now became a mezainistic of food.
Yeah, because that's why
you chose the one that could have chosen the grill.
It's zikr more than just lahatim. It's lahatim. It's zikr lahatim.
The concept of serving both, you got one grill. Like the way it comes back and says, no, they don't have any more grill.
So now I want this. I'm eating. Oh, you mean no? But I'm just advising that that they're making 2 types. It shows that there's a whole different taste in it. That means they're giving you an option. So now you're eating. That's not so much dependent on you anymore. Now the fact that I went ahead.
Yes, depending on the person.
No, it's not the. Oh, that's okay. That's,
yeah.
No,
that's what
it's not so much dependent anymore on the person. It's since you see that they're making different tastes. So that means they understand that there's something in a pretzel taste. So if there's something in a pretzel taste, I would say you should go ahead and make a
called pretzel chicken. That's what it is.
The coating is pretzel.
I'm just totally behind.
Yeah.
It's called pretzel chicken.
Right, and pretzel challah. That's pretzel dough. That's a whole nother shot.
What, it had a different salty taste? That's the
there's pretzel. No. Pretzel is not that. The pretzel is regular pretzels. They crack and they make.
What's the Indian of pretzels over?
Ask Mr. Mike.
So the coating is made out of pretzels. I understand. So the coating, the pretzels, they are zikr. You not only are choosing a coating, you're choosing a type of a coating.
Today I'm choosing a type of coating.
Sorry, Mr. Kashe, let's say you didn't choose a type of a coating. You just chose the coating. That makes it.
That's also because since I have an option of not coating, every chassan you have 2 options, and I chose not to coat.
Let's say this chassan only has 1 option. You tell me.
It doesn't make a difference anymore because today it's already since there's 2, 3 options, 4, whatever it is. So today that's how it's made. It's made because this is giving taste, and this chassan all decided that they don't care about it. Now I didn't say you have to make a mezainis. Please don't go tonight and go to chassan and make a mezainis and schnitzel. So now, that's how I'll explain the Ramesha. The Rivas Ephraim, who we know was a big time with the Ramesha, in his Chuvas Chele Gimel, the end of Simcha Chav Beis, he explains Ramesha like this. He brings this title up, and he says, "The kiva and the eina el tavlin ba'alma." Since it's only a tavlin, it doesn't make shivas at its bottom. Now I don't know what he's. I'm saying, but I don't understand what he's saying. I mean, that's not what the Moshe wrote.
What's the lesson?
Kivan eina ela tavla ba'alma.
Tavlin.
It's
Tavlin means latimoi, right?
Tavlin's less than. He's
No.
trying to say it's less than latimai. It's just there for spice.
Spice it.
Spice it.
And the Rambam says clearly that that's not a mezainis.
No, yeah, but that's not true. It's not there for tavlin. It's not a spice. Spice, you put salt and you put pepper. That's there for taste. That's not called a tavlin. That's called for taste. And especially today, this does not apply. So we do not have this heter of Moshe to make a shackle, the violet. So we're still stuck with a mezainis. So let's move on. The rabbi first told me that he asked Moshe
From Chicago.
from Chicago. This is first from Chicago. He told me he asked Moshe what the bracha to make on schnitzel. So Moshe said it's totally if it's latam or ladavik. If it's latam, you make it by minim zaynis. If it's ladavik, you make a shackle. So he came out that bizmanenu. You have to make a mezainis. Time. Well, what I'm just trying to prove is that today most of it is zicha der for tam. There's most of it der for tam. We have to work on getting out of how does the Welt make a shackle. And Yaakov Kamenetsky brought down in the sefer of his same bracha. You know who writes that sefer of the same bracha?
Yeah.
It's English.
Also,
Rabbi Badner,
but right.
right? So he says like this. He brings from Yaakov Kamenetsky to make a shackle, and he explains the tzipui einoi nosul l'tam atzmai rak lahatim hadog. Shemochi ein echashem. No, forget fish. Let's talk about schnitzel. It's there to go ahead and give taste to the fish, not taste to you. A little bit like we were trying to explain. So on the bottom, they write hakavana shekol hechesh atzipa eine lahatem as ikar. Okay, after atzipa chameshes minim, that's just considered like a ingredient, and that doesn't have a din for your te'ima. So that's a little bit like we were saying in the Moshe. Rabbi Yashiv brought down in Sefer Pischei Halacha, that's Rabbi Forrest from Barakaway. He says he heard from Rabbi Yashiv, you make a mezainis on schnitzel. Okay?
What Rabbi Yasha Paskin on Mike Schnitzel? No. A regular Schnitzel.
Yeah, so
How thick was the covering?
that's very important to know. Shlomo is asking very good. Rabbi Yashiv saw schnitzel. If you ever saw the Israeli schnitzel, maybe today is not so much, but
Today's
30 years ago
Yeah.
was mamish. It was like a piece of cake, and like Shlomo said, you had to have a magnifying glass to find the chicken in there. And it was only like the first 10 bites till you got there, it wasn't chicken. If you started the other side, also wasn't chicken. It was like in the middle, when you're looking for the custard, sometimes in the donut, So that's where the chicken was. That was right. And so Rabbi Yashiv saw that. That's what they showed him, and he didn't even see the chicken in this. He said, "Schnitzel, what's das?" Okay, I'm nachman on the of them. So because Lamaisa, there's a sefer called Shiurei Mayon Hagrish Al Masechtas Brachos that's written by a big Talmud of him. If you ever by Rabbi Yashiv Shir, you saw the Talmud live, Rabbi Cook. Seeing Cook, you ever saw him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but kids is very jakav to go to. You ever spoke to him? Surely. He was beautiful shiur. Anyways, the kitzah. So he says, he writes in the sefer that Rabbi Yashiv was chayzer. He said that Hayorez v'Hashem yikach davar achal avarach al mezainis. Rabbi Yashiv held that if it's Yorez v'Hashem, take something else and make a mezainis in it. But to say that Rabbi Yashiv said to make a mezainis on the schnitzel
Or maybe
itself,
somebody explained to Rabbi Yashiv that the
And then he
schnitzel
said-
changed.
Right,
Maybe more
exactly.
and more chicken.
yeah. Now let's go a little weiter. So we don't have a clarity yet, Bechlal, to say that you should go ahead and make a shackle. We don't have a clear svar why on schnitzel you should make a shackle. So Ms. Alman says that it's made ladavik. That doesn't work for us because we're saying it's zichadeh for taste. Ms. Karelitz writes that if your kavana is that it should be a chicken, it should be a main dish, like you make a shackle. What's the pshat? So he works with this chazanish, and he's saying that it's a fart fish, a fart chicken. It's called chicken.
Not called schnitzel.
But it's not. The problem is it's not called chicken. It's called schnitzel. What does schnitzel mean? What's the translation of schnitzel?
Sometimes they call it chicken schnitzel. That's sometimes they call it chicken schnitzel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, la fouke. I don't know what.
Schnitzel's mesuda ach. Mesuda ach. He says he just wrote something over here. Schnitzel. What did he write? Schnitzel. It's.
Oh, he's saying
it's
where
English.
schnitzel comes from?
Yeah.
It's on the thing.
No, he just says
So
something.
there's details in that.
That's what he just texted. What does schnitzel mean?
No, it's a German word. No, it's a Nazi word from somewhere. No,
Yeah, it's not an English. I'm saying a guy called schnitzel also.
no, the guy called it breaded chicken.
Oh, okay. So it's a Yiddish word. Oh, cutlets. Yeah. Okay, so it's a Yiddish word. So okay, from German schnitzel, literally slice.
What Schnitzel? It was saved. Who saved whom?
Oh, schnitzel, Hebrew.
Yeah.
Oh, schnitzel, it saved the chicken instead of from its burning.
No, it saved you from a HaBrachos.
Oh,
Everybody said we're hacking here. Where the word schnitzel comes from, courtesy of the chats. Okay,
okay,
weiter.
fine. Weiner schnitzel is breaded. Precious. Okay. That's why it's important to know this, because it wasn't Stam looking to know what words mean. It's important to know if we keep it called fish. Gefilte fish has the last name fish. Is schnitzel called fish? Chicken?
No, you're saying this is far. Let's
Yeah.
assume it's authentic. Can't apply to schnitzel. I think it would. Far
That's what I
chicken.
said, maybe not, because the has a different name. It doesn't have chicken. It doesn't have a name chicken.
What? Depending on the name.
The name, that was the Chavanish Yisrael or something.
Well, it's called gefilte fish. It also wasn't called fish.
I know, but at least that has in it that it has a name fish.
What was it? You mean?
I'm going to tell you, it makes a big enough community halacha. I spoke to Rabbi Auerbach about this. I don't think we're going to get to it today, but Rabbi Auerbach. The other place today, do anything. What? Yeah. Right, true. It is naked, true. Yes, it's true. It's true. So we have someone over here timing that I'm just going to say over Rabbi Trapper's timing that there's a big difference between gefilte fish and schnitzel. It's true. We're making two things here. We didn't put them
We
together.
haven't even done the meatballs. What about the meatballs?
It goes like a gefilte fish. Meatballs exactly like a gefilte fish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would say not.
Okay.
I would say not.
No.
Because everybody understands that gefilte fish is gefilte fish. But then that's gefilte fish. No one says gefilte meatballs.
Right.
I would bet.
Oh, you would say the meatball is much lighter to shaken.
Yeah.
Okay. Shlomo is saying a very good svar. Now by meatballs, over there it's much more mistavet to make a shakel.
More.
Shaking back a filter fish, maybe we should still be some. Okay, we're not finishing here, I see.
We're not.
So we have a lot of
We'll have
this
to pull
still.
this off to next week.
Yeah, so we'll continue on next week and we'll tell you Lamaisa. But the Vaila, don't wash or make a mezainis on either gefilte fish or meatballs or schnitzel. Stay away from it. No, don't stay away from it. Eat it and do it well done. Next week we'll try to finish off and explain Lamaisa why we do that, and we have many, many other things to explain and to discuss in this halacha of Kol Sheyeshber. Shkayach for listening, Rabbi say, and this is very important. Oh, unless next week is Tani Chanukah, no.
No, next week is still that. The week of Hanukkah, we'll do Hanukkah.
Okay.
Only